All right, a very good morning to you. It's good to see you on this Mindful Monday. I hope that you're having yourselves a better start to the week. Welcome to the show. The show is Your World. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and today we want to tackle something that a lot of us, I want to say, struggle with, and that is work-life balance. And we just want to understand, first of all, is there such thing? And how do we get to that level where we say, you know what, actually, my work life and my life outside work is balanced? And how do we even get there? Do we have some people who have it all figured out? Okay. And if they do, how do they get there? Okay. So it's going to be an amazing conversation. I have amazing women with me today. They've done fantastic things. And I want to say, I think they have it covered. Okay. And if not, they'll tell us what are some of the ways that they are doing, or, you know, trying to at least have it covered when we are talking about work as well as balance. So you do not want to miss any part of the conversation. Do stay with us because we want to understand why work-life balance is important and how do we achieve it, okay? But before I introduce my guest for the day, we have a very simple question for you this morning, okay? And the question is, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy work-life balance? Once again, what is the biggest challenge, according to you? And that is towards maintaining a healthy work-life balance. You know the drill by now. At NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X is how you can reach us, or use our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400 and tell us, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy, the key word is healthy, work-life balance, okay? We'll be going through your comments as we continue with the show, but let me introduce my guest for today, okay? So like I said, amazing women who are doing fantastic things in their different fields of work. And we have different people in different fields to at least make sense of this whole work-life balance. And on my immediate left, this is left, I always have to do this, left, right. We have Susan Wahome, who is a business owner and coach. Hi.
Hi.
Tunataka kusikia, yes.
Hi.
You're used to having something ping,
yes,
and then you use your hands to talk. I understand. Trust me, someone who talks with their hands, I understand. But it's so good to see you.
Thank
Good to have
so
you.
Glad to be here.
Oh, my days. Let me tell you, someone was actually saying, she was saying, you know, she looks like she has it covered. The success we're seeing, we're seeing the growth. And I was like, why? Hey, please help us, teach us your ways. So you will help us understand much more of the same. We'll also have Minister Judy Karanja, who's in this case a mentee of Susan.
Yes.
Where? Hi.
Hi. So glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
So good to have you.
Yes.
How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I am good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to learn more because these are experts.
Really
I'm
is.
in a season of learning and transition. So I'm so
that.
privileged to be here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we're also looking forward to learning from you
Thank
too.
you.
You know, on your journey and
Yes.
you know how far you've come, and you know you are here today with us. And we also have Grace Nzula, who's a HR consultant, founder and CEO. Hey, Atara Solutions. Hi.
Hi, Winnie. It's really good to see you again.
It's good to see you. How you doing? There was a memo, there's blue, and then some bit of you know what?
Blue. I have blue.
You have blue. So I'm the only one who's not. No, listen.
I have some purple.
You have some purple, which is so
is
me
not
and
far
you,
from
we are
you.
in the
Yes.
somewhere. Me, I want to say this is like some shade of blue. Don't tell me nothing else. But you watching what is happening here.
Yes.
And we'll also be joined by Grace, not Grace,
Nancy.
Nancy Kabiru, he's here, who's a psychologist and a mental health coach. It's a lot of women and a lot of titles, so bear with me, Kidogo. But let's start with you. Work-life balance. We were discussing about this before we came on air, and I was telling you how I was, again, during my research and just reading through what different people are saying, someone was actually saying that initially, there was a time in their life where they had it figured, work-life balance. It was not a big deal to them. Ask me why.
Why?
Because they did not have a job. and that was
correct,
right? And that was interesting to hear, because now this one side of their life was quote unquote not there, so they had this side figured out, and a lot of people struggle with that balance, work-life balance. Someone else was saying work-life balance is a lie. So is there such thing? Tuanzie tu hapo, work-life balance, is there such thing, and is it a lie? Or it's a level of balance that we can get?
All right. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm very excited to be sharing about work-life. I do not like using balance,
Okay.
because I think balance, to answer your question, is an illusion.
Okay. Hey,
It's literally a facade.
all right.
Because I think as we grow, we realize that a balance is like using a scale.
Okay.
You know, the way we used to measure like sugar, you know, if you grew up back in the day, the kgs on this side, and then you put on this one, and then it balances, and then you're sure that it's balancing.
Yeah.
But as you grow, you realize that achieving a balance becomes a challenge. Okay. Some days this one will be up, some days this one will be down. Yeah. So it's normally an up and down kind of situation.
Okay.
No, so nowadays we've moved. We don't even call it work-life balance.
Right.
We morphed into work-life integration. Yes. Now, as of last year, we are calling it work-life alignment.
Okay. I'm going to write it down as you continue. So no more work-life balance.
No, not even work-life integration. Now it's an alignment.
We align.
Yes, it's alignment. So you make sure your personal life, your all aspects of your life, from work to personal, you as a human being, to all the other titles that you hold, your mother, your dad, your a daughter, your in fact, we were having a conversation with one of my friends, and she was like, you know, I'm from the Indian community. The mother-in-law is also part of this community.
Yes.
You know? Yes. So it's about just finding an alignment between all these aspects of your life. Otherwise, if you try to balance, one side is just going to lose. And the other one, you know, because sometimes you'll find, I mean, you have deadlines. Deadlines require that you put more effort. So guess what happens? The home front becomes a bit down. But then you also have a school activity. So guess what? You'll need to drop the work and then attempt to. So instead of just having it, I am going to have this one and this one, and they're just going. No, it's just having an alignment. You know, like it's both working, and it can actually work. They don't have to come and
collide with one another.
No, it's just an alignment. You know.
Well, and I really, I want us to go deeper into that alignment because remember, like you said, balance illusion. So that one we don't even go to touch on. But then again, this alignment, like how then do we make it work that one part does not suffer because, you know, we're focusing on this other? And how do we even attain that alignment? And even knowing what to focus on at what point, because I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of even HR on Natuambianga. When you get to the office, anything about your life, you leave it at the gate. You know? So then how do we find that alignment? Because I'm one person who, say, is a mom, a daughter, but at the same time in the office I'm also, you know, a co-worker, I am a boss, I am this, I am that. So then how do we find that alignment, okay, without necessarily bringing the other issues into the other? It's a lot, okay? Now, let's speak to you both. So you are a business person, you're a business coach, you have a YouTube channel, you do all these things. Okay.
And I have a full-time job.
And you have, wait, okay, let's start. You have a full-time job.
Yes. And then I have a business.
Okay.
And then I'm a content creator. I'm a mom of 4 kids. And I'm a wife.
Wait. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So take us through a day in your life with all these titles that you wear.
Yes.
Take us through a day in your life and what that looks like.
Okay, so a day in my life will depend on what's happening on that day. You see, as you said, it's about alignment, you know. So sometimes, here I am today. I'm not at work. I'm not working on my business.
You're not working
but I had time with my children in the morning. And so what I've come to realize is it's about seasons.
Okay.
And for me, the things that I'm doing now at this age when my children are a bit older, I would never have managed to do this when they were younger.
Right. Okay.
So it's also, I try to tell women it's important to know your season. If you're in that season or you have really young babies, then don't try to be starting like huge things because, you know, babies are demanding. And to also give ourselves grace. So that's how I've managed to balance that. I move with my seasons. When my kids were very young, I was mostly like just work and then kids.
Okay.
Because they're quite nidoremi. Therefore, I'm not like this. Like there's a time I had 4 kids under 4. It was a lot.
Wow.
So that was not the time to be starting YouTube channels.
Can we then go back to that? Can we go to that back to that phase? Because I'm pretty sure you had to learn to work around all this titles and still remain sane.
Mostly.
So let's go back to then. So 4 kids under 4.
Yes.
Do you have a full-time job then?
Yes.
Full-time job.
Yeah.
Of course, wife.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So content creation was not...
It was not there.
Not there.
Yes.
Business, running your business?
By that time, I took a step back, and I handed most of it to my husband, who's been a trooper.
Ah, fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. So how was that like? Because I know this is where a lot of people struggle, because younger kids, you have to go to work, you have to deliver at work, you know, but also still come home and take care of your kids, take care of your husband, ensure that the home is running smoothly.
Yes.
What was that like? Let's go back to that time, because now you seem to have things aligned.
Alignment is happening. But at that point, I think two things worked for me. Number one was, first of all, I let go of perfectionism. Nothing had to be perfect, by the way. As long as my children were fed and alive and kicking, I was happy. You're wearing yesterday's clothes, it's fine, it's fine. So you're fed and you have slept, fine, you know, we move on. So that one, I let go of perfectionism, and also delegation and building support systems around myself. So my husband always, hugest trooper, shout out. Shout out to my amazing husband, he's been the best. And then also my house helps. Then I had 2 house helps. And one thing I learned is that they're there to help me. So they're part of my team. They're helping me to be able to deliver the kind of atmosphere I'd like for my children. And also other people, like someone who comes once a week to just do a thorough cleaning of the whole house. If your kids are in school, then their teacher is also part of your team. You're building a team and a support system around yourself. So then when you are able to manage and work with all these people, you are able to deliver holistically, because they'll do things that you can't do, because you're a human being and you have limitations. So together, those people here, they all work together to help you build the kind of life that you want for yourself, so that when you go to work, you're able to concentrate, because you know every other aspect is catered for. My children are in capable hands, my business is in capable hands, and all that jazz.
Maybe kuna swali unatoroka, but I'll come back to you, because I want to understand. But it's okay. Tutarudi hapo. I want to understand from you, because like you said, so you're learning from her. Yes. And I want us to go back. Why, first of all, the need to say, hey, I am struggling in this area and I need help. So what was your life back? See, for her, she said 4 kids under 4 at some point.
Doremi.
And then she had a full-time job, you know, a wife, a mom. So there's all these things. Let's go back to mine. Then, before you've learned what you learned so far.
So my husband and I have been ministers for 23 years. So we're going through a transition where we are on a sabbatical, and then we are building businesses. Right now we're in the wealth creation stage of our lives. So we are building businesses, we're going through financial literacy, and I have an elder son who has autism, who's 23, so I'm number 1 caregiver. I'm caregiving for my mother, who is over 80, a dialysis patient and mostly bedridden. And then I have a miracle child who's 8, who I'm homeschooling as I handle all these areas. So business was new to me. I have to build an enterprise for my family and my children. And I just needed someone who was doing the same, building an enterprise, while still prioritizing what was valuable to me, while still prioritizing family, marriage, children, faith, because everyone has a vision out there. Vision is where you're going, but values, what are you willing to do or to lose or to not do to get there? And to me, our values aligned. I could see she really prioritizes her family. She really prioritizes her faith. She really prioritizes, and she's doing things I dream of doing. And one life hack is don't learn everything by experience. It's the slowest teacher, actually. It's not the best. Learn from someone's experience. So every time she comes to my timeline, she reminds me, she brings back family in focus for me. She brings back faith in focus for me. She brings back children. Oh my goodness, my home is so disorganized in this area. She's doing freezer meals. Oh, I need a freezer. You know, she's giving us meal plans. Chores. I need to teach my 7-year-old chores, even my eldest. Remember, he's on the spectrum. So she makes that easier for us. We don't have so much time. So she has all these tips of how to do this better. So I knew I want to join her mom's club. And when they did March, especially when they were doing business, I knew this is for me. That was a sign, join now. Because I'm a stranger in this area and I need to learn.
I see.
Yes.
So what was that point in your life where you were like, because naturally, and I'm happy that this panel is like all women panel,
yes,
because we're expected to have it all figured out. At no point are you expected to fail as a mom, fail as a daughter, fail as employer, employee, you know. No, you're expected to have all these things figured out. So is there a point in your life where you were like, you know what, no, I cannot do it?
Yes.
And what was that?
I think especially where business is concerned, you can be very busy, but you're not progressing. And you're doing so much and not seeing the growth and the results that you desire. And one thing she says is that business should work, it should produce sales, and it should align with your lifestyle. And I knew I need someone to show me, because what she does, she teaches you habits that produce sales. Bottom line, you can be popular, you can be busy. If you're not selling as a business,
then
you're frustrated. So for me, I needed someone who has already hacked that area, so that I could now have, she gave us this worksheet so that every day you have these habits you're building into your business. It made my time more efficient. So, you know, you could do so many things. You could be at every pop-up market. You're trying to do reels. You're trying to build conversations online. You're trying to attract clients. But when someone gives you a pathway to follow and says, do these 5 things every day, then you won't be so harassed and seeing such little results. And for me, that's what I needed. Someone who helps me get the results.
Get things done. I like that. Now, they've both mentioned something, prioritize. Okay, can we understand this term, prioritize? Because when you look at life, all these things seem important. You cannot say, I'm focusing on work, you kids, in as much as you're fed, that's still okay. But, you know, all these things are important and all of them need our attention, okay? So prioritization, can we just understand how that fits into work-life alignment? Because to say a balance it's not working. How do we get there? Prioritization.
All right. So before I answer your question, there's something you talked about. HR wants you to show up and work is work. And just don't bring your home issues here.
It is true.
Can I look at them?
Yes.
If you're HR, no, I want to tell them. No, listen. If you're HR, who does not allow a person to bring their whole self to work, please resign today. You have no business having anything to do with people management. I know we are changing terms. We are now called people and culture, please. We are no longer human resource. I mean, we talk about authenticity. Authenticity means one day I'll come to work and I'll have fought with my husband. I'll have had trouble with my child who does not want to go to school on that day. I'll have trouble with that. And I will be crying on my way to work. I'll get down there, yes, but I may not be very productive because I'm still thinking about home. Okay? So we want you to bring your whole self because we want you to show up with your best. So bringing your whole self, it does not mean that one day you pack and then tomorrow you pick it up later, right? So we want to say that you have yourself and you are authentic self coming to work, all right? The one thing that we ask of you is not to bleed on people.
That's true.
Right? So you have come with your emotions, you've come with all this, you're tired, you have not slept for days. It is important to know when to say, you know what, I need 2 hours, all right? I need 2 hours today. And be willing to whatever it takes. 2 hours, yes or no. If they say yes, fine. If they say they're going to deduct the 2 hours from your salary, please say yes. Because you need it to actually recover the 2 hours. Otherwise, if you don't take them, then it means you're going to be bleeding on people. And that is why we say, by the way, my friend, we don't care. When it gets there, then we'll wear the HR face and say, you know what, please do this. But we are saying, please, the people and culture person of today, we are saying, bring your whole self to work. And then now figure out at what point do you drop what. Now back to the prioritization. We have 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. We need to make sure that what are your top 5 things that you need to do today? All right? One time I was going through a rough period and I remember my coach saying, Grace, learn to do what we call segment intending. Because you get anxiety by thinking about tomorrow, the day after, the afternoon. you actually go crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So she said, Grace, segment intending, and that is one of my biggest lesson for the last 4 or 5 years, because I also do as many things as she does. And it's, I have woken up. Segment intending is I have taken a shower. Tick.
Okay. Yes. At the basic level.
At the basic level. Because if you're going through depression, you know even a shower is a task.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So you wake up in the morning, you've taken a shower. Tick. Next, we are taking breakfast. Okay. Breakfast we can take away to work. So we pack breakfast and take it to work. Now we get to work, we say from this time to this time, this is what I'm going to do. From this time to this time, this is what I'm going. During my break, I am calling home because I probably left a crisis at home. All right? I make a lot of phone calls in the car. For me, by the way, if I don't have Bluetooth in that car, we are in trouble because I need to catch up with my many things. You know, I'm ever in meetings. I'm either training or in a meeting or with a client or all these things. So I am not able to maybe answer phone calls for a certain period of time. So I'm going to check on my friends. There's a friend of mine who we talk every single day for at least 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon. That is my debrief moment. Okay? So I was back to 24 hours in a day. You sleep for how many hours? You know? It is recommended, and I'm sure Nancy will join us and tell us how many hours is recommended. So
say 8 and
out
we'll just
of,
look at her.
if it is 7 hours, I'm sure she'll say 7 to 8 hours, but she'll clarify. But I believe if you're a grown-up, 7 hours is good enough.
It's too much.
It's too much.
What did you say the same? In some level, we're told, no, rich people only sleep for 3-4 hours.
No, but the health part. Remember, you're talking about health.
No, and
Wellness.
Yes. So there are days you'll want to sleep for 7 hours.
For those who are in perimenopause, who I'm representing, 7 minimum. 7.
Okay.
Or you get cortisol, you're too stressed, you can't function.
Okay. So you sleep for 7 hours. From 7 hours out of 24, how many hours do we have left?
17.
Okay. So you are at work. Give it 10 hours.
Okay.
7.
You have 7
left.
Yeah, because you still have commits. You even still have a deadline. So you'll not leave at 5 on the dot. You'll still extend a bit. So give it about 10 hours. You have 7 left. Even give another hour for traffic and everything. You still have 6 hours left. You get home. There's homework. Okay? Homework, please, let's be honest. Kids are asleep by 8, 9 in our homes.
Even 7.
Yeah, even 7.
Yes.
So you still have an hour to 3 hours for you.
And there's marriage.
And you're married.
And there's marriage.
Yes.
Now you have done your what do we call it?
Your work.
You've done your work. You have done your children. You even have time for the husband because remember you're also probably partnering. So husband is taking care of the children. Homework. You're busy figuring.
So what you're saying is it's possible to eat 24 hours. You actually can go on a break and then come and talk about now. That's the ideal. The reality of that. Because saying all that. We'll come back and start from there. This 24 hours, divide it into I don't know how many hours in a day that we can, and see how we can make sure that everything aligns into those 24 hours. But not forgetting the question that we're asking you today. Where the question that we're asking you is, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy is the key word here, work-life balance? Well, we'll be reading more of your feedback after the break. Do stay with us.
Our relationships are not working.
Femicide. Ilikuwa tu vitu zinafanyika, mnanyamaza, zinafunikiwa.
Nobody deserves to be killed in the name of relationships that are voluntary. If you don't like me, just leave me alone.
Sisi kama wanaume pia kuna vile tunakuwa affected, but tunanyamazia juu machozi yetu ni ya ndani.
Today I feel like we are lifting the need. We are lifting the shame. We are lifting the conspiracy of silence that men can actually talk.
Marriage is a journey.
Whoever can annoy you, they can control you. Don't allow a woman to annoy you. If she starts pulling you down, my brother, just walk out.
Want to know the biggest story of the week? Do not worry. The Weekly Review got you covered. For in-depth analysis of politics, business, governance, as well as social issues, the Weekly Review covers it all. For well-researched, exclusive and investigative content, read the Weekly Review every Sunday in the Sunday Nation.
China did commit around $50 million investment to Africa in the next 3 years. Out of that $50 million, and then actually $10 million are going to come out directly from the Chinese companies, not from the Chinese government. We are also very actively looking for merger and acquisitions opportunities and to help to link the capital and advanced technologies know-how from China, and then also very strong local corporate in Africa. So we also observe there's some shortage of cash flows when you are running a project. So we can, of course, offer sometimes letter credit for them to acquire the raw materials, and then also working capital for example, invoice discounting, etc.
South African football legend Benny McCarthy is tasked with reviving the fortunes of the national football team. McCarthy has been in charge of Harambee Stars for just over a month and has led the team in 2 key matches.
There's some good quality in there, which surprised me, but it's always a benefit for the country, for the team.
On the next episode of Sport On, the former Blackburn Rovers and West Ham striker reflects on his experience so far in Kenya and his vision for the national football team.
Okay. Yeah. All right, welcome back. Of course, the conversation still continues even during the break. And it's all about work-life balance. But now, suddenly, we have to change that term balance, because HR, but there's no such thing. It is an illusion. It's a lie. There's no such thing as work-life balance. But we can talk about work-life alignment and how all these things is in a line towards a common goal, and that is to make sure you're sane, okay? You're healthy, and all these other aspects of your life are working, okay? The question that we're asking you today is very, very simple, and that is, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining? It's not even a T to start to maintaining a healthy work-life balance alignment, okay? Balance and alignment, follow me, okay? At NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, is how you can reach us, but also use our WhatsApp number 0112 500 400. So like I said when we started the show, I have amazing women doing amazing things in different fields, but we're actually bringing them together so that we see all these other aspects of our life. Because remember, like we said, it's not just at your off days, hakuna mtu anakusumbua, and when you're home, when you're your work. No, it's emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, all these other aspects, and they have to align, okay? So we have Susan Wahome, who's a business online coach. We have Minister Judy Karanja. We have Grace Nzula, who's a HR consultant, founder and CEO, Atara Solutions. And we also have Nancy Kabiru Hise, who's a psychologist and mental health coach. She'll be joining us in the second hour to help us now understand how do we remain sane even as we make sure that all those things are aligned. Now, 24 hours, okay? And you said it's possible to have all these things, all these titles that we wear as people, as women, as men, as employers, as employees. It's possible to ensure that all those things are aligned. And you segmented the 24 hours now for someone who is working, say employment, corporate, right? Business person.
Yes, ma'am. 24
hours. And let's divide this 24 hours and make sure that everything, first of all, is that even possible?
Yes.
Okay.
It is possible.
You said sleeping for 7 to 8 hours.
That's a lie. It's not gonna happen.
Why? What happened?
Because it just depends on how much you want to achieve with your life. Okay. And for me, I've reached that point where I'm like 6 hours is enough.
Okay.
Because I want to have, as we're saying, we're trying to align these things. Okay. Again, my kids are still in those formative years, I want to be able to spend enough time with them. Okay. We have conversations, we talk, we play, we have fun. I am married. I have a business. I'm launching a 21-day challenge with my moms. I need to be there for them. We're having coaching sessions. I'm filming YouTube videos. I'm filming Instagram videos and reels and all that. So for me, what I do is I take every day at a time. Oh, and I'm still going to work at some point. You know that. You know that. But thankfully, I must give a caveat. My job is a shift job. So I don't have to be there every day. And that's how I am off today on a Monday. Okay. And so perhaps what applies to me won't apply to everyone. But I still think it is possible to look at your timeline. For one, the thing that I completely have removed from my life is watching telly.
Okay.
Like I used to be that person who watches TV every day until midnight, and I realized how much time I was wasting. So I'm very, very, protective of my time. Also, I try to not spend too much time on my phone as well. Try being the key word there.
Yeah, I was about to say, show us your ways.
So sometimes that also will happen. So on any given day, I will try to wake up at 6. I'll have my quiet time. I will work out, assuming I'm off on that day. Okay. And then by about 9, I have spent enough time with my children. Oh, we're also homeschoolers, so our children are home all the day, which I think has worked for us. Okay. Because then we're really able to spend a lot of time with them. So I don't have to necessarily segment these 2 hours for my children, because we're together, we're doing life together. Okay. So then by 9, I'm seated on my computer. Maybe I'm working on a coaching lesson, or I'm strategizing on a video. By 2 p.m., then that's when we're filming with my husband, YouTube and everything. Yeah. By 6 p.m., we sit down, we have dinner with the kids. By the time the kids go to bed, it's 8 p.m. I'm meeting my editor online. We're editing tomorrow's video. Yeah. We finish by 10:30. By 11, I'm asleep.
Okay.
So just a little bit. It is possible.
It's finding, prioritizing.
Yes, exactly. And not every day will look the same. Yes. But as she said, pick the things that you have to do, the 5 things that you have to do today. And as she said, as long as everything is moving together, you're experiencing some type of growth in every area. And also knowing in this season, this is the most important thing, and this part is experiencing the most growth. That's how it is.
I see. Okay, I'm also curious. You're 24 hours.
Yes.
Then and now.
Yes.
What was then like and what is now like? Because again, you've come a long way. You've gone through, the journey of learning and relearning and unlearning and doing all those things.
Yes.
So 24 hours then and 24 hours now.
Yes.
What do they look like?
Then my 24 hours were pretty similar, but falling apart in the business scheduling side.
Okay.
I am the 5 o'clock wake up mom, 5:30, devotions, working out, and then it's school, because I am the homeschooler. So my hubby does devotions with him, then we are in class. And in the ACE system, you're not teaching A is for apple. They actually do a lot of individual learning. They need you when they're younger, but then they do their own reading. They only call you when they need help. So I'm taking orders because I'm a graphic designer. So we have custom orders for so we have a custom order is going to a Mheshimiwa, and so I'm working as well. Take our break, take our lunch, school is over, we are packing orders because we have another toy where we do deliveries, which need to go at the end of the day. And my hubby is on those 3 design orders. They need to be ready. I'm going printing. I'm going to deliver this and that. So now I also have to do social media. Most entrepreneurs realize you are a social media influencer.
You're the CEO, you're an influencer.
It shocks you. And, oh God, I have to create content. What on earth? So I think that's where now Susan came in to help me, because she gave me the line of what to do to make that more effective, because I was running all over the place and very frustrated with the very little time I have. I felt like I wasn't achieving much, and she has given me a guideline. This is how I'm going to be moving, and it's really challenging. I'm still working on some of them. I think her program for me is you have to do. Many people want to know, I went to this course, I this course, this America, I have this. Are you doing? And her program is every day, which habit have you built? It's like, gosh, you have to really challenge
small things every day.
Yes, because time is passing. Time will not be added. Nobody is coming to add. Time has to be taken and assigned to what's important. So she's teaching you, take time and assign it to this aspect of your business. Take time and assign it to that. So that's where she really helped me, so that with the time I have for business, I know what to prioritize. And let me say about I can jump into the work-life alignment from a biblical perspective, because we've been ministers, the Bible says there is a time for everything. So if you're not finding the time, maybe you've overscheduled one area, there needs to be equilibrium. Like in the school, we are told one subject cannot be moving, they can't be moving, they move at the pace of the child. You can't be in pace 30 in this one and you're in 20. You have to move them together. Even if they're struggling in one, create that equilibrium that the child is growing. It's the same in life. Today, marriage needs my attention. My husband needs my attention. We are going through challenges. So I may not give business as much time, but neither am I letting it die. So I think that's the thing, work-life equilibrium, that everything is moving and nothing is dying or getting deteriorating because of the other.
You're focusing on the other.
Yes.
Where equilibrium, alignment.
We are moved from integration.
Now, so and like what you said earlier on, that as a HR practitioner, you said people and culture.
Yes, people and culture.
Culture. You expect this person to come to work whole, but at the same time, that whole concept of leave your problems at home, really, it's the same person who's coming to work with all these problems. Now, how can we make the work environments conducive for this person to say, listen, I am struggling. I need my excuses in health days, my mental days. Yes, I need my days, okay? Without necessarily now the HR bookings be like, why, where are you going, unafanya nini, and all those things. But also remember what we were talking about. Someone might take advantage of the fact that, if I come speak to my HR, she's very nice, she will understand. So we take advantage.
And go do a side hustle.
Yes, and go do a side hustle.
In fact, we had a joke last week in our HR forums, and my friend posted, and she was like, or rather he was like, how do you know somebody's about to quit? And guess what? The leave days increase. They need to rush somewhere at 2 o'clock
every single day.
There are all those things that happen. That is a sign of quiet quitting.
They're disconnecting.
They're disconnected.
They're building the other thing.
They already decided. It's just the plug. They have not just pulled the plug. But they are, they're going through labor. So
the spirit is gone.
Yes. So and this is why we have rules and regulations in the workplace. Because you can't just be open to everything. Now, for employees, if you start taking advantage, please don't come blaming HR. That HR does not allow us. Because we trusted you, and then you took advantage, and then now we have to.
You abuse the privilege.
Yes, if you abuse a privilege, what happens? We still need to take action. Because at the end of the day, remember, we have a business to run.
That's true.
So what we say is, you have some days. If you authentically say that I need this 1 hour, then we authentically will allow you. But if it becomes a habit, then we are definitely going to have a conversation. And the conversation will be like, you deal with it, or whatever happens beyond here cannot be used against us.
But now we have a question. How about this story of, it's fine. Why are you asking me to come work on my day off?
Now, here's the thing.
Balance.
Remember, sometimes when you are asked, first of all, we both take advantage of each other. Let's just admit we both take advantage of each other, right? Because remember, as a business owner, I run a business. My business, sometimes I'll ask my person to do something. Hey, please send me that thing now. Because I'm at a client, I need an invoice. In fact, this happened last on Friday. I was in Nyeri seeing a client. Our accountant was on leave. So I'm like, I am being told to give an invoice now. And this is money that was owed to us from last year. So I'm like, wait, I know it is your day off. I know, I understand. But whatever you have, please send it on my WhatsApp now.
But that's an exception.
And you see, that's a one-off, all right? But if you have things that must be, my former boss used to tell us, what has to be done has to be done.
That is true.
So if you need to do this today, what we say is, please let it not be habitual. Okay. Even your lateness. If it's habitual lateness, we start showing cause.
That is true.
Yes, you have to show cause. If it's habitual. Even for employer. Once in a while, please put in the hour, right? Yesterday, I was doing something, and then my colleague was also doing something, and then we find ourselves sending each other emails, and it's Sunday in the evening, and we're like, oh, you're also here. Because we know that if you don't do that over the weekend, the week is going to be so busy, you'll not have time to do these things. So it's just about being authentic, being genuine, saying, by the way, I'm going through this time.
Yeah.
And for this period of time, I probably will not be.
Yeah.
Now, here is the catch. Sometimes you don't know.
That's the thing. And I was about to ask the same. Like, do people, employers know? Because they're the ones with all these policies and all this, so they know. But how much do employees know in terms of either they're right or there are these provisions, you know, that if you're not, or if you need your days, you know, they can be allocated and all those things. So because it was creating that environment where both the employee and the employer work are aligned. Because we're using the term aligned.
Or non-disclosure.
Yeah.
How sure am I that what I share with HR, the T girl won't be looking at me from the corner of her eye, because now everybody knows I fought with my hubby last night and I'm devastated. Are there non-disclosure clauses when it comes to that for HR?
Of course. We have confidentiality.
Yes.
We will hold it against you if we hear you spreading rumors against the company.
Yes.
So why can't we withhold that?
Yeah.
In fact, it's very key for we become like psychologists. We say HR is the psychologist, it's the disciplinarian, you're the lawyer, you're also the party planner, you're all these things in one. So there are some days that you realize intentionally when you keep discovering people, you get to say, you know what, at this point, and you can pick. You can pick. Winnie was performing. All of a sudden, her performance has started dipping. She will not come to tell you, but you can proactively ask. You know, if you can proactively even to ask the manager, by the way, the reports that you've sent on performance, I'm noticing a trend here. Have you tried talking to this person? Or the manager will come and say, this person has been missing work, like they disappear. What's going on with them? You know, and the manager will come to say that we show cause, we give you warning letters or get rid of you. Sometimes that happens. So what we are doing in organizations is now train. When you come up with a policy, let people know that this policy exists. Okay? Yes, it's important that we know where the boundaries are. And Nancy will come and tell us, boundaries are so key in this life.
It's so elusive, but
because sometimes you break a boundary to know that it was a boundary.
And you're like, I didn't know.
Yes, I didn't know. And you see, sometimes some people will ask you, so do I need a HR full-time here? I don't think I have a lot of work for HR. But also sometimes our work is also to babysit, unfortunately.
But then also, let me say something. The way you said, like the manager, if you notice something and you go and ask this person, they've been missing or their performance is going down, then for me, I believe it starts from even before the problem starts. You have to be the kind of manager that I can feel, I can tell you. So the day you come and ask, by the way, this person has been caring for me all along, and they've been, because now if you've been that person who is like, you know, and then you come and ask me, I won't tell you.
Unamka asubuhi, you know, house manager amesema, by the way, bye. Or they don't even give you notice. When you go and jirani, you remember, hey, your child.
I can see your child outside.
You know, genuinely those days, right?
Actually, they are. And to be honest, a lot of organizations actually are very supportive of employees. They are the bad ones, of course. They are the bad rotten potatoes. But there are actually quite a number of organizations. I'm a HR consultant, so I'm hopping from one business to another. And as you do a turnaround of culture, you realize these people, it's a growth problem that they're struggling with. They have grown to a point where I no longer need one person. I need 5 people. However, you have not realized that you need 5 people. You think that your people are not performing. But they are overworked.
They're overwhelmed.
So they are actually burning out. You see? So it's important that as you grow your business, you also know that these are the people I need in my business. And I think the ladies have said seasons. So you have a growth stage. When you're starting out, I remember when I started my business, oh my God. The 4 hours they're talking about was real. I burnt out, by the way. I totally burnt out. I remember going to Nancy, and Nancy saying, Grace, we need to review, you know, because you need a therapist, because you're burning out and you don't even know. So sometimes when it's that season, then you realize, wait a minute, I am looking for this support system. And I keep saying, if you're looking for people to employ, you employers, hire the right people, because the right people will help you create the right culture.
True.
And all these things we're discussing, it's a culture problem.
It's a culture problem. Where I see now, for those people who, because again, like you said, work-life balance alignment has changed over time, and now it means differently from what it meant a few years ago. And we have things like flexi hours. What else is there now? Work from home. We have provisions where moms can come with their kids, and there's like a daycare facility provided. You know, for their kids. Yeah. But at the same time, someone is asking, someone was saying, again, this body was listening, and this person is saying, the reason why they're providing all these things, especially for the, the crash, they're saying it's because they want to have you there all the time.
All the time.
And remember, you said we are taking advantage of each other. So we are. But we are at this point. So do all these things help in attaining the work-life alignment? But before you answer, I'm curious, and especially for the business persons. So then, how do you create that? Say, for example, both of you are employers, right? And you're an employee.
Yes, I wear both hats.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you then create that culture? Because, like she said, it's a culture problem, right?
Yeah.
So how do you create that your employee will not be scared to come and tell you, hey, listen, I need mental health days.
Yes.
And there will not be how to come they're crazy, and then you hear their stories on the corridor, and you're like, but I asked for mental health day. How do you create that culture?
I think it all starts with relationship. And I know sometimes people think that you have to be BFFs, the people who are working for you. You don't really have to, but you just have to be that kind of person who is, put yourself in their shoes. And it's easy for me now because I'm just really at the beginning stage of like building the company that we'd like to proceed on with. So we've just hired like an assistant, and so it's someone who I have had a relationship with before, but the minute someone comes on your payroll, now we're no longer like just BFFs. There's like a shift there. So we are still friendly and we'll still chat, and how are you doing? I want to know how they're doing personally in their lives, but also to that extent where then if something needs to be done, you have to have those boundaries, as she rightly said. So for me, I'm not really struggling so much because it's just, I have 2 employees, I would say, including my house help, who's an employee, by the way. So we're able to keep firm but fair. We are friendly, but we are professional. If something is not getting done, we'll be able to talk about it. If that person needs help, they'll be able to come to me. But I guess as the company grows and you get more people, that's when now it starts getting a bit hairy.
How do you, the boundary thingy that we're talking about? Because sometimes it's very easy to, see, you're my friend. And you've employed me. I see I mess up kidogo junajua friend yangu.
I will tell you, Bana. No, you're not keeping up. We have standards, and we sit down and say, this is what I expect, by the way. And if someone is not performing, I will tell you, this is your last month now. Show me that you can actually do this, because see, even you are, then I'm very open. This is how much money we have made. You can see, this is our target. Tell me what exactly in your list of to-dos, what do you do to increase this bottom line, by the way? And so if you did not do this, it's affecting our bottom line, it's affecting how much I can pay you. So I am very able to say, because I'm very open, this is how much money we have made, we are struggling. It's because you did not do ABCD like we agreed. And if you cannot, because you want the business to grow, I'm sorry, we'll have to get someone else.
I see. Communicate clearly.
Very clearly.
I see that. Now, so what is it that you'd like to tell other people? Because now we also have to have a psychologist here on the second hour. And so I'll have you have the last word on this in terms of, so based on the things that you've learned and based on the things that you will continue to learn and what you have, what is it called? Inculcated. In your day-to-day. What is it that you will tell people as far as finding that alignment, that equilibrium? That all of us are saying, listen, it's actually possible to have work-life alignment and equilibrium.
There's this image that's shared a lot on social media. 3 people are trying to look over a wall. One is tall, one is medium, one is short. Equality is giving them the same size of ladder. The little one is still not seeing over the wall. The medium one may be able to now. The tall one now is overseeing unnecessarily. But equity and equilibrium is knowing just the amount of ladder to give each so that they're able to look over the wall. Think of your life as these 3 people. I don't need 8 hours of working out to be fit, but just 30 minutes a day will keep me in good health. I need to give 8 hours to my work. I don't need to spend 3 hours with my husband every day. So know what are your priority areas of life. Know them. Even if you don't write them down, know them. And then schedule time for them every day if possible, or notice which one is suffering. And I wanted to talk about employee. For me, my husband and I are both we're self-employed. We run our business. But then our number one employee, who we have had for 14 years, is our house help. And people forget that is an employee everybody has. You may not have assistants, but you do have a house help. And the culture we've created is that we have a schedule, we have goals that she has to do every day, that if she has to go to her child's school, if uncle dies, she makes sure that these things are met. She may say, I want to come earlier so that I can finish my work and I can go for the school meeting. We are traveling. My cousin has died. I'm bringing you a girl who's going to hold fort while I'm gone. If they know what's expected, they're able to cover when these emergencies come. And there's that mutual respect. And I think that's one reason we've been able to stay for so long. Also, she goes home. She has her life. In the evening, I'm alone with my children, with my mom. And then I have to make the sacrifice. Nowhere now you have to step in, and the employee has to have their life so that they are also not burnt out and tired of working with you.
Just because you've employed her doesn't mean she does not have any right whatsoever.
In fact, I like the day scholar because they still have their life and they are more professional with work. They treat it as, I am going to work. And she has her weekend. She goes Saturday, she's off till Monday. So you may not be able to do that, but you can still create that culture of she knows what she's supposed to do. She can schedule it. And even if she has to go, she makes sure it's covered before she goes. Yes. Then she takes responsibility.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Happy for you that you have one for 14 years. You know those ones who say, with
a child with autism, you can imagine. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's take a break. Then when we come back, we'd want to understand now from a psychologist, point of view, how do we, alignment, how do we make sure that all those things are aligned? We remain sane and productive as well. And the question that we're asking you today is very simple. And what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy work-life balance alignment? Okay. Equilibrium. So yes, keep sending in your views. We'll go through them as we continue with the show on the second hour. Just stay with us. The show is Your World.
Nations Connect, NTV, and Nation FM presents Revival Camp with Jesus and the Church, an electrifying worship experience like no other. On Sunday, 13th April 2025 at the Mavuno Hill City Church from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join Once More 6 from South Africa. So get up, get up, get up, get up. Featuring Son of Nations, Susan Grace, and Mike Owero of NTV Crossover and Nation FM Praise Break Team. Futim Longo, the Mavuno Church Hill City Worship Team, and many more for an afternoon of revival, worship, and transformation. Don't miss out. Secure a ticket now at www.kenyabars.com. See you there. So get up, get up, get up, get up.
Pata taarifa teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story Bilangori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your taarifa teke.
What's up, people? My name is Brian Aseli, most bankable host in Africa, and I'd like to invite you for Man Cave 5. But before I even tell you that, there are 3 things a man cannot live without. 1 is money, of course, and 2 is ambition. I know some would say a woman, but this time round I want you to focus, okay? Nataka focus kabisa. The 3rd thing is actually coming on ground for the Man Cave 5. And that's because men will be gathered and they will be having panel discussions right here at Herencia. For those who are asking themselves where Herencia is, it's actually off Thika Road, Wanasema exit 16, and of course, it's right before you get to Mangu High School. So don't miss out on a chance to interact with men, because every time men meet, great things happen.
The truth is not governed. The truth governs our beliefs, our faith, the trust we give, the democracy we seek. When held back, it always breaks free. Seek the truth. Set yourself free. Subscribe to Read online at epaper.nation.africa. Daily Nation, the truth unfiltered.
I'm a clinical director here and I look after everything regarding the patient's consultation, ultrasounds, the procedures, IVF, and everything is available under one roof with all the latest facilities. And we have been running this center successfully now for last 3 years. There are a lot of tubal blockage cases which require IVF because once the tubes are blocked, they cannot have natural pregnancy. So a lot of people don't know that it's available. And then there are a lot of other issues like the young girls who are studying and who are delaying pregnancy for whatever reasons. We want to create awareness amongst them that the egg freezing is a very good thing to stop the biological clock. We decided to participate in this because we wanted to create awareness amongst the people as well as the health professionals that the sexual health and the treatments for infertility, etc., the advanced treatments and the specialized doctors are available in their country. Everybody should attend this kind of health summits so that they are aware about the things that are available. We want to basically offer them treatments at the affordable prices so that they can have their families and they can live happily.
Stand by. Hi, welcome back. Well, let me tell you the conversation that happened when we were off air. We're in the second hour of the show. Actually, no, yes, now that we are in the second hour of the show, it was like 10:59. And we're talking about work-life balance, equilibrium, alignment today on the show. And we're trying to understand, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy work-life balance? I'm sifting through your comments. I'll read them as we continue with the conversation. And now we are joined by Nancy Kibiru Hisia, who's a psychologist and mental health coach. Welcome to the show.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you were following the conversation.
Yes, I was.
What do you make of it? Is there such thing, first of all, as work-life alignment, okay? Or balance. Let's just use balance for this purpose. And then alignment, we've learned about it a little bit. Yeah. Is there such thing, first of all?
For balance.
All right. Do you want to speak close to the mic? Yes.
Okay. So for balance, it's hard to achieve.
Okay.
Right? You can do it for 2, 3, 4 days, but not keep up the habits.
All right.
Harmony, alignment is possible.
Equilibrium.
Right? Equilibrium is also possible.
Yeah.
And it depends on the phase you are at in life and the demands you have and the goals you have.
Okay.
And when we talk about goals, they need to be smart.
Okay.
So you need to be specific on time. Why am I doing what I am doing? For how long am I going to do this? How much income do I want to have achieved? How much growth do I want to have gone to? Because you see, people celebrate different things.
Yes.
There are those who will celebrate an income. There are those who will celebrate titles. You understand?
Yeah.
So how much growth would I have wanted to have achieved? For example, we can work with a 5-year objective.
Yes.
So what does it take for you to achieve that when you set it? Okay. Because if you come to me, you would have been specific. I will challenge you on the realism of it.
Okay.
You get? Do you have the skills? Do you have the network? Have you aligned your family? What other, in addition to that, are you looking to have? Okay. Because we have people who are rising in career, and when you're rising in career, then you cannot be getting pregnant. You know, we have to look at it.
But why not? Why
because
not?
because if for example you got pregnant and you had not planned for that, it will interfere with how you function at work and your deliverables. Remember, your employer or your business does not understand that you have your personal life going. They want a delivery of service within the standard which you showed that you can be able to deliver.
All right.
Okay? So it's good to be clear. Am I working with a 5-year? Then what am I introducing? And are the people around me aware that this is what I am working towards? Do I have the right support? Listening to the ladies on the panel, I had them say, my husband helps me shoot. We respond to emails, or we have like graphic work. You know, there's teamwork going on with this individual.
All right.
But there are those who don't have the partners, right? So they are hungry to achieve an income or a title or make a difference in the society. However, they also want to have a life going. So be very clear. For me, I'm going for this goal at this specific time. Should somebody say hi to me, I will say hi back, but I'll also be clear
on why you're saying hi.
Yes, that this hi, we are not running. I'm not ready for step B.
Okay.
You know, or 2 or 3.
Okay.
So that's what I'd say we would be able to achieve.
I see.
Yes.
Now, you talked about burnout earlier on. I think she also mentioned, you know, burnout a little bit. And I'm just thinking, so what are some of the signs that someone, you know, is experiencing burnout? Well, Isha left the chat room. They left. You know, quiet quitting.
Right.
Or someone is just not happy in the environment they're in, whether it's in business, you know, you try to grow, imeanguka, you try, you know, all those things. And incorporate someone who's like, it's no longer serving me. Yes. Yeah.
Burnout usually happens when you're in a high achieving environment where you're required to deliver, or when you challenge yourself to deliver. Maybe you're comparing yourself to your peers, and you want to work as hard as that person is working. You want to get as much recognition as that person has gotten. You get. However, while that is possible, personalities are different. Okay? So you need to be self-aware on what type of personality you are. There is a personality that cannot function without structure, clear guideline. So when they are in an environment that is not specific on the objectives, this person is lost, right? Whereas there are those personalities that work well with being spontaneous and creative. So do not tie me to this objective. What do you want me to bring? 10 million. Whichever direction I use, so long as it's not illegal, I'll deliver that. So we have that going on. So the individual needs to understand themselves first. Okay. Then the organization where you're working, it's good to know whether you're compatible based on your values and on your cultures. Okay. So I had one of the panelists talking about Christian values. So if she's placed in an environment that does not uphold Christian values, they will not work. There are those who have Muslim values. If they're in an environment that does not uphold that, they will not work. And then there are those who are like me, I'll gel anywhere. However, these are my personal values. So this organization speaks to me because it has a purpose that aligns to me. So if you're in an environment that does not align with you, at one point you might have accepted it because you needed to survive. However, when now you meet that need, you start to realize, I'm being misused, or I'm not giving my best, or I'm not growing as a person. And it's okay to be aware and to position yourself well. We say when you're leaving, don't burn the bridges. Okay? Even when you hire your friend as a PA, they need to understand the day you outgrow them, because that is possible, then you don't break those ties on a bad blood place. You can still continue friendship by business, wish me well, and you would have identified yourself. So when you're leaving, ensure you've not burnt bridges, have open communication. So burnout and balance. When an environment is toxic, when a relationship is toxic, that is when you will realize you're going through an imbalance. There are people who join the wheel and just run with it and they move on with life. We are all clapping and cheering and achieving. Good. But when there is toxicity, when do you realize, when do you notice there's toxicity? When there's no respect of you as a person. or of your colleagues, right? Or of the goal and objective which you had set out.
Okay.
So maybe, in this case, there are people who are strict like accountants. You will not evade taxes. We have to pay taxes, right?
Yes.
And then you, as a business owner, you're like, hey, when we look at this tax, not in percentage, as the amount, hey, let's, don't report it. You look for other expenses. So you find this accountant will be like, in case of anything, it will be my name on the line. So I'm not comfortable working here. So they'll start getting this grant hold. And in that case, they'll feel the toxicity and they will talk of an imbalance. Because for them to deliver 100%, something else has to give.
That's true.
And that's why I said, understand the phase you're in, okay? Because even in a relationship, say you're a mother, you're a wife, or even you're a child at your parents' home, regardless of your age, because these days, even you can be 30, still living with your parents. You know, your work, you could be in a phase where you need to give so much that you're not present a lot. So your partners, your parents, or your people around, communicate to them.
All right.
So when you're at work and you've given all this and you're not receiving the reciprocal appreciation, then you start to talk about toxicity, and you start to feel burnout. So what are the signs of burnout? Okay. My friend here and myself, we are alphas and Grace. Okay. So we are those people who will be go-getters. All right. So we call ourselves type A personalities. You'll be go-getters. But if you don't know that that is how you're cut out and you're different from everybody else, you'll expect the same from everybody else. Okay. So when everybody else cannot meet the allocation of responsibilities, then you will take up those responsibilities. When you take them up, then you're overwhelmed. Okay? How will you be overwhelmed? Psychologically, because you would have exhausted your thinking capacity. Emotionally, you will be triggered easily, so you will see a lot of anger issues, banging of doors, clicking, disorganization happening. So we are seeing signs now for those type A of no balance. Then for the reverse now, type B personalities who love structure. You will start to see them evading, avoiding, not committing, right? So that is a sign that this person is getting overwhelmed. Their mental resources have become over-exhausted, or their emotional resources are no longer there. Now, as a person, what is your experience? Because those are what we are seeing now. But internally, your experience as a person is that you have challenges with your sleep. Everybody has their own sleep cycle. If you sleep for 10 hours and you're not on medication, you will come and tell me what's going on. You understand? And then, if you sleep for less than 6 hours, you know, we will talk about that. What is going on? What is going on, right? Because those who sleep for longer, they probably are becoming depressive. So they don't feel motivated. They have no energy to wake up. They just want to push an extra 2 minutes, 15, 20, comes that way. Those who sleep less, their mind is not shutting down. They are still spinning. So even when they go to bed, they don't have the patience with themselves to allow the shutting, and now we are sleeping. You get? So you will notice issues with your sleep. You will notice issues with your eating. You will notice issues with your mood. Some people will have issues with substance use. There are those who find food comfort over eating, right? So those are what will be happening internally. And also in terms of grooming, self-care, you know, all that will be affected.
I see that. Now, remember how we were talking about flexi hours, you know, you can bring your kids to work and they have a place, and work from home, all these things. But really, do they help in maintaining a healthy work-life alignment? Do they really help, or is just a way of employers that what wake up or to want for more hours?
There's some, I'll answer it in twofold. I went to train an organization last year, and I was like, they have a Zumba class that happens on Tuesdays. They have Sijui a gym which happens on Wednesdays. They have Sijui what, and then the managers was like, that guy still girl comes. The provisions are there, but they don't use them. And then I was like, why don't you guys use them? I am so busy, I am so caught up in this job that I don't remember. So gym is supposed to be between, the guy comes from 4 o'clock to I think 6 or 6:30 p.m. there. By the time they raise their head, it is 6:37. So they're like, oh, he went. The gym is in the workplace,
but it's not
being used. All right. I've also seen mothers who their workplaces have a creche, but they are not comfortable bringing their kids. Others just want a creche to pump milk and for those who are doing exclusive breastfeeding. So do they work? Yes, to some it does. I've gone to tech, let me just use Tech Industries because they have the funniest, most interesting setup. They have bin bags. They have PlayStation. They have I don't know what in the place. And you'll find somebody just walking from their desk and poof, and you should see the way they sit. They just like they just bounce on there, and then they chill there. They're on TikTok. They're doing what, and you're told that is how they get creative. I used to work in a furniture shop, and in our furniture, our designers used to have music. Like they would boom boom tough in the office. Because that is how you get more productivity from them. If they're not listening to music, they will not give you the designs you're looking for, right? So normally when employers are doing this is because we want to meet you. Okay? We want to meet you and meet your needs. But at the same time, we also expect something to give. We invest in you and also invest in the business, because at the end of the day, it is mutually beneficial relationship. And let's not lie to each other. Let's stop blaming employers. Okay, I know everything rises and falls with leadership, so leadership sets all these things that we say. But let's just be honest. It's employment at will. Okay? And employment at will means you are selling your skills and I am paying for them. Am I paying you as much as you think you're worth? Most probably not. Because to be honest, it is hard doing business in this country. It is really hard doing business in this country at this point in time. So we are all just trying to survive. We are all trying to thrive in the midst of all the chaos. So it's not like the environment is very conducive for the employer to give you all you want. It's also not conducive for the employee to get all they want. So it is normally, you know what, this is my expectations. By the way, it's very good to be very clear. This is what are my expectations. And one of the things I tell managers, please learn to delegate. And I tell you, if you come and tell me I cannot go on leave because my work is too much, we need to have that conversation. Because it means you're not delegating enough. Number 2, you're not trusting enough. Number 3, you are not busy growing other leaders because you have insecurity. Wow. Right? So we need to work on your insecurity so that you can be able to raise other leaders, so that you're able to say, you know what? My kid's school is next week. Leave form and here. And the organization will be like, so you book. And you are able to assure me that while I am gone, nothing will stop. And it's because you've created other leaders within your department. So this thing of expecting HR to just manage employees, my friend, we cannot manage everyone.
Everybody. You know, and the different personalities that she talked about, and the temperaments, and
we rely on the managers. You know, our work is to support managers to bring out the best in their teams. We will support the CEO to bring the best in their managers as well. So it's a trickle-down effect. So you guys blame HR. You should know how much we afford. My God. In fact, one of the things that we normally do is please remember to take care of yourself as HR. Because you'll go into that boardroom. You find Grace Nzula is there. She first of all understands what HR is. Then you are here to report that HR is doing and HR and HR. And I'm like, my friend, can you stop this? You're coming to tell me that I have given 10 show causes. Can you tell me why we are giving 10 show causes? Because it means there's something wrong in our organization.
I see that. Someone asked, can I just, nikipigwa simu on my off day, is it okay for me to say, hey, listen, I am on my off day, I will attend to whatever it is that you need on Monday? I am on leave. Please don't call me. I will attend to whatever it is when I come back. Because a lot of people are scared. And even to report, say someone needs a mental health day, right? They're scared because if they say they need that, they'll be seen as they're not delivering because, you know, of 1, 2, 3. So a lot of people just push through, you know, strong, unaficha, unakuja, you're smiling, but ukienda nyumbani, you're crying in your sleep, you can't sleep at all. And I'm pretty sure, even like as an employer, you know, remember how I asked that, do you create that environment? How do you create that? But is it okay for someone to say, no, I will attend to this when I am at work? Nikuwa nyumbani, I am attending to my kids' needs. Or even if I don't have kids, I'm attending to other aspects of my life.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
Depending on your organization culture.
Okay.
There are people who, when you say, hey, it's my leave day, I'm not coming, the interpretation they have is, you do not take instructions. You're not a team player. You're not willing to go an extra mile. So if your organization is structured in such a way that, hey, I'm not coming in today and it's fine, if your manager understands that, that is good and everything. But I keep saying, sometimes when employers are asking you to give an extra day, it is not because they really want to, but it's because they know if we don't deliver, we cannot invoice. If we cannot invoice, we cannot pay you. Right?
Okay.
So it's normally a series of activities. So we need to work so that we can invoice, so that the money can come.
I like the way she's looking at you. That's what I see.
Go. You need to. Because now the other thing is, again, as employers, we also need to teach ourselves that it is okay for people to take leave. Right? We need to normalize that it is okay for somebody to say, you know what, today allow me to work from home. And we are saying, please have policies, have documentation that is backing you up. If you allow people to work from home, have a policy that has parameters. You know, working from home means what? You know, organizations now
until 11 a.m. and then you log in.
You know,
I go back to bed.
Last year, the other day, we were doing training on embracing work. What do we call it? Multi-generational workforce.
Okay.
And people were saying, I got a WhatsApp message at 1 a.m. Somebody saying, I'm leaving the office now. I will come tomorrow at 11 a.m. because I have, you know. And this person is from the other generation. And they're like, what? Mimi, I am used to leaving at 1 and I'm at the office by 8 a.m. Because that is what I was taught to do. But then here comes the other generation that tells you, my friend, I am leaving the office at 1. My mental health will be at stake if I come at 8 a.m. So I'm going to come back 11. You got to understand your organization, right? You also need to understand your needs. They've all talked about seasons. If you're in that season of, I need to give my all to this job for me to get to the next level, please give it your all. Because what you're doing now, let me just say this, it is a practice for what you become tomorrow. So what you do today, you're practicing for tomorrow. And if you don't give your employer the best, don't tell me you're quitting to go and start your own thing and expect to succeed.
Okay. You know what, I think we need to have a conversation on the multi-generational workforce. Because Gen Z's taught us a lot. This work environment is toxic, my mental health, and they quit and they go. So we'll have a conversation on that. You wanted to say something before we go on a break. A lot has been said. Hey.
Let me first say that it's very important. Now I want to talk as an employee.
Okay.
I have had a manager call me to go to work on my day off. And I must say that he was very nice about it.
Okay.
Because he knows that I'm a content creator and everything. So he said, Susan, I know you are probably filming a YouTube video to do your day off, but we really need someone to come and do ABCD. And truly, I was literally in the middle of filming. And I just said, imagine I can't. And the good thing is he was able to understand and said, fine, I was just trying. There's this thing, but I have a few other people I can call. Okay? So I just want to say, even as an employee, personally, I work for a very good organization. And they have all those things. They have the gym, they have the clubs that you can do and all that. They have the creche, they have the places for you to express your milk and everything. And so I feel for me also as as a person in business, I know how hard it is to make money. And when I went into business and I realized, my goodness, making money out here is hard.
Yeah.
I have so much appreciation for my job.
I see.
Like, I want to give, when I'm there, by the way, I give my best.
Okay.
As anyone who knows that when I'm doing my work, I do it to the best of my ability.
Is that because
then I know.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that because the environment at work, I'm looking at you, you know, is like it. You see, even when your manager calls you and tells you, hey, listen, could you please come?
Yeah.
You're able to see, okay, I can go or I cannot go. And when you say you can't, it's still okay. You're not, nothing is being held against you. You're not a team player, you're not this or that. So do you think that's because the environment is good, where if you're tired and you need to go rest for a few minutes, there's that provision. If you need to go to the gym, there's that. The environment.
No, well, I would say,
because a lot of people say, give me a good environment and see what I can do.
Yes, but I wouldn't say it's the environment. For me, I think it's just where I have reached in life, where I am able to set boundaries. And it's not a fight. I'm not against you. I'm not against anything. But now I have grown to the point where I feel I am able to say a firm and polite no, I am not able to do this. And hoping the other person will understand. And I'm so happy that day I had someone who understood. But I know there are others, and I've had some of my employees say, no, they don't understand, or you get penalized, or when it's time for promotions, you are looked over because you don't come in on your day off. And that is fair, because as she said, the company, we have to look at both sides. And now you as an employee, you have to be okay with that. I'm like, it's fine, I'm okay. Promotion, it's fine. As long as I have my days off and I have these boundaries, and this other side of my life is growing, because we're talking about equilibrium. Because if it means for me to get a promotion, I have to bend over backwards, come to work all my days off and everything, then this other part of my life is suffering.
That's true.
So for me, I'm very okay, even if I don't get the promotion, I'm just moving up pole pole, but then this other side of my life is also, there's equilibrium, there's balance, there's what? Alignment, you know, and I'm okay with that, you see. So it's part of partly because of the company, but I think mostly because of me as an individual, having those boundaries and knowing, I'm okay with that.
Can we address this boundary issue? Because again, it's good to have boundaries, but sometimes it's also good to understand up to what level do you apply the boundaries.
Yes. Also, before I answer boundaries, I'd like to say what would make somebody go to work on their off day is the relationships you have with the people, your seniors at work. Do you feel valued? Because if you feel valued and appreciated, then you know that you're an expert in what you do. So when you're asked to come in on these one-off times, then you know I am going to do this, and they appreciate me, and I'm okay to do it and step out. Or I can ask for documentation to be sent my way, and I respond on my email, and they are going to do what is needful without having to use me, to use it against me. With the managers, it depends on the leadership style that the managers have, because different departments will require different leadership styles. So as the business owner, or as the person advising these business owners, have you helped them place the right people in the right places for productivity? And this, this leadership style, does it have complementing personalities working under it, so that it doesn't have to always, and I'm saying it because I'm taking the humanness out of it, because it needs to deliver. In this case, the manager is like an asset, a property. So Chan, it's, they're looked at like that. So do you understand yourself, right? So back to boundaries. Boundaries are, there are terms that we use loosely, and there are people who understand them. So for clarity, boundaries can be flexible, they can be rigid, and they can be porous. Okay? They are not a strict thing. Okay? So in what aspects of your life do you want rigidity? Okay? And rigidity, when we're talking of boundaries, we have different categories. We have finances, we have personal time, we have cognitive intellect, we have properties, we have finances, we have relationship, we have intimacy. So which ones in that space, like at work, Which boundaries are you rigid about? Okay? So maybe now for Nation Media, you're strict on time. So that's a rigid boundary when it comes to what is expected of you, right? That's with the organization. But for you as an employee, what are you also strict on? Those are what we will call rigid.
Okay, can we take a break?
Yes.
Digest that. Because I'm looking at the HR, to also understand. So, because like you said, it's a relationship, right? Symbiotic. So, yes, respect the company's boundaries, but also the company respects my boundaries. So, how do we, find that dance that Mtrasi feel, you know what, whatever. Me, I'm here to pay bills, but I'm not happy and I'm not delivering. And also, when we come back from the break, then we'd want to understand how do we get there? The HR, corporate, in this case, a business person as an employee, and then also on the mental health. How do we get there? How do we maintain? Because the question is, how do we maintain? You can easily set these boundaries and all those things, but how do we maintain it? For that healthy work-life balance, alignment, equilibrium, all those things. Okay, so we'll see you after the short break. Just stay with us. The show is Your World.
Tired of endless scrolling? Say goodbye to the chaos. Introducing the all-new Business Daily website. Experience seamless navigation. Immerse yourself in a world of more videos and more podcasts. Discover more with our enhanced home pages. Engage like never before with our interactive tools. Join us and elevate your reading experience today. Business Daily. More possibilities.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes.
Reach your audience instantly and make a lasting impression with Nation Sema. Affordable bulk SMS at 0.3 Kenya shillings. Own sender ID for 10,000 Kenya shillings plus 10,000 free messages. To sign up, please call 0728434979 or email us on mkibunja@ke.nationmedia.com.
Looking for some mehe faster than you can say spill the tea? Well, I've got you covered.
Con Entertainment, we already got the vibe. So I got the beat, my moves ni kwako.
Join us for Chocha where the games are wild. Kiss my dumb, right? Gashagwa, Kindiki, Sakaja.
And of course, kwa na story inspiring ama ngoma noma, send in tutakuwakilisha kama kawa kama dawa.
Catch Beats and Buzz
only on NTV. It's gonna be mad and crazy.
For fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
Changes in programming.
Did Cecilia tell my father about your relationship with her?
Life is full of surprises.
Is there something else that I need to be worried about?
Today's Judgment Day.
She's out of danger now.
Uliacha mwanamke alikuwa na mtoto, jua mwanamke mwingine.
You haven't presented expense reports in years, and that's more than enough reason to fire you. It's time for someone responsible to come in.
Berta, say something. What happened?
Sammy, I'm in big trouble right now. I need help. I don't want to go to prison.
Dario and Di are in love.
Did you hear that?
Did you leave him seeing stars?
The entire Milky Way, sweetheart.
You are the one.
Welcome back. The last few minutes of the show, time really flies, and we're having a very important conversation on this Mindful Monday to help you think about this for the entire weekend, for the rest of the days after this conversation, okay? And it's all about work-life balance, equilibrium, alignment, all those things, okay? And we're asking you, what do you think is the biggest challenge to maintaining a healthy work-life balance? I can see a number of you have a lot to say, but we left at so understanding the different personalities, yes, right? Yes. And knowing what works and what doesn't.
Leadership.
And now I'm just thinking, yes, how practical is it? We'll come back to the leadership in just a sec. How practical is it, say, for a company to meet each and every person's need? Because different personalities, different backgrounds, different all this, things. And I expect my needs to be met the same way the company expects, and then, she does the same and she does the same. So how practical is it to make all these people happy? Quote unquote.
It's not.
Yeah.
You're not avocado. Or ice cream. Yeah. You. One of the things that I personally have come to accept is I cannot make everybody happy. True. I want a happy environment. I want happy people around me. Yes. I want people who are productive. But does that mean that they will all appreciate me at the same time? No. Will they appreciate it later? Yes.
Maybe yes, yeah.
Or maybe yes.
Yeah.
So if I need to be tough, I'm going to be tough.
Yeah.
If I need to be friendly, I'm going to be friendly. And what organizations are now doing is, please, when you are sent out an engagement survey, kindly respond. Please, first of all, make sure they're anonymous, yes, so that people are giving you authentic responses.
Yeah.
So that you as an organization also know what you're dealing with. I remember one time, we gave somebody a bonus, and we paid for her and her family to go to Lamu, a flight, and you see the way you're doing?
Yeah.
I was like, yes. And then we gave it to her, and then she walks into my office and she says, Grace, hamunge nipea pesa. I was like, so, and this is like 2016 there. Yeah. Imagine taking a flight in 2016. Who was doing it? Japo had just like come in. So I'm like, wow. And that was a wake-up call for me, because I realized what I think would work for you will not work for everybody.
Yes.
And that's why people are doing engagement surveys, because we want to know, how else can we help you work with us better? How can we improve your productivity? And how can this relationship actually work? Because even now, there are clients who call me and I'll be like, I'll feel very bad because I can't show up because of the relationship we have.
Yeah.
And by then I'll actually assure them I'm not able to come, but I'm going to send you somebody who is actually able to do it. And one thing that I've learned over time, and to entrepreneurs, is to, because people want to see you, Grace Nzula, they want to see Grace Nzula in the organization. But Grace Nzula cannot be an NTV and go to Panessa. I run a carpentry school as well.
Oh, wow.
So you will not be at the carpentry school. You also need to go and do show cause notices to other clients. You need to review policies. You also need to go to, we have an event on Saturday. We have a road trip on Saturday, by the way. So we need to plan the road trip as well.
Yeah.
And this is for people, it's learning conference. Road trip for learning.
Yeah.
So it's, you're doing all these things, So it is being able to support your clients in knowing that even if you're not there, the person who goes to their organization is able to deliver. So for me, it's so important that you invest in your managers. Learn to teach them into detail on how to delegate and to let go of the fear, and also self-awareness. I think self-awareness is something that we learn. I hang out with my friends nowadays, 35-year-olds and above, we are quite getting to self-awareness. But I keep thinking to myself, Grace of 28, one of my colleagues is 28 years, and I keep looking at him and I'm like, okay, there's a bit. So my mission right now is actually to support. In fact, nowadays, anything on self-awareness, I'm sending him. I'm like, you need to understand who you are.
Yes.
Yeah, because for me, I can see who you are.
Yeah.
But even if I know, unless you actually start working with who you are and then bringing out your best self, then we are also wasting time. So organizations invest in managers, and managers invest in your teams. If you're running a small business, fine, you can have a relationship with everyone. If you're managing a workforce, one of my friends is a HR who is managing 37,000 employees across Africa. What time do you have to have relationships? No. You don't.
Yeah.
So who do you have a relationship with? Your managers, right? I have, like this morning at 8 o'clock, I was at an organization. They have 200 staff. And we were just discussing how do we change around this culture and how do we support these managers to support the MD, because the MD is actually going into whatever. How do we manage support the MD to support the managers, to the managers to support the others, like that. So that then the organization is not one. You know, she was talking about managers just organize themselves salaries. So that then we don't have that. It's actually, all of us are coming from an authentic point that we are supporting this person to be able to support these people and then be able to support. Because at the end of the day, all of us are responsible for the growth of this organization.
Absolutely. The goal is one, that the organization
We
grows.
close shop today. We're all going home.
We're all going
and
home.
we're all starting to say, Grace, I have my CV. Oh, my friend. Oh,
you know. People assume that people who are self-employed have it easier on the work-life balance, because I mean, I'm my own boss. I can walk into my office anytime I want. I can, like, mimi najisetia the rules and the policies and all those things. Is that true?
Nope, 100%. No.
Why? See, your own boss.
You realize you don't want to work for this person from 8 to 5.
Yes.
So then you're going to work for yourself from 8 to 8. Like there is, it is just chaos. Growing a business to where it is successful and giving you something. It's not something for 2 months. It's not something for 6 months. Even 1 year is a stretch. You know, you give yourself 5 years, 10 years of consistent growth and putting in a lot of work, a lot of hours, and a lot of effort. Okay. And so that's why I tell people, if you want to start a business, you have to be very strategic about it. And then I also tell people, please just appreciate your job. If you have a full-time job, it is a blessing. It is a blessing because out here, by the time you're matching your salo with your business and it's giving you what your salo is giving you, my friend, it's very, very hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
You were talking about Acheta sleeping for 8 hours, 7. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And we said, let's have a psychologist at Wambie. At this point in time, how important is sleep in helping us maintain a healthy work-life alignment, equilibrium, all the above? How important? Because we tend to overlook sleep a lot of the time.
You know, sleep is not luxury. Right? Sleep is a necessity. It has to be one of the items that you tick out. And whenever you deprive yourself sleep, it will load and your body will demand for it at some point, right? In that case, you need to have an organized or a structured way of sleeping. And that's why I talked of let's have goals. Yes, let's have goals. Be very clear that I am depriving myself sleep. I'm sleeping for 6 hours for this 2 years, right? And after 2 years, I will align myself to a certain way. I have a lot of people who come for therapy. They've been flight attendants, so you know how their sleep is, and they are moving. But what happens? They develop psychological and lifestyle issues. They come with pressure issues. They have other psychotic issues that have developed because your brain, the way it is created, it requires you to wind down in the physical activity for it to reboot tomorrow for you to work well. So have a cycle. So we say divide your day into 3. You have your 8 hours of sleep, you have your 8 hours of being active, and you have 8 hours of the other things. Include yourself in that. So if you sleep for 6 hours, you have robbed
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yes.
You get. So you need to tell me, or you need to plan to give yourself those 2 hours in a holiday that you've taken.
Okay.
All right.
So let's
somewhere
divide this 888.
Yes.
In this economy now, with people in corporate and with people in business, and those in corporate with side hustles.
If we look at it that way, we are looking from as a psychologist or from a psychological perspective. Then you as an individual are operating from a survival mode.
Yes.
Okay? So in a survival mode, you're anxious. So you feel that you have certain deliverables to achieve, and that's why you're denying yourself. But how long can you hold anxiety? Because anxiety, the same as dopamine. We talked of if the job is pleasant, it gives you dopamine, so you do it more. So anxiety, the same as dopamine. Today, the level of anxiety will be on this level. Tomorrow, for you to feel the weight of that, it will be higher. The next time, for you to feel it, it will be higher. So by the time you're noticing, or people around you are noticing, you're actually crashing. You've developed anxiety. You've developed high blood pressure. You have diabetes issues because you don't eat well. You don't exercise. You don't have any self-care time. You understand? So that is why it's good to be very intentional. Because it's an equilibrium. At one point, you will have work giving you pleasure, but be very aware that at another point, you require to just be okay to be and not be productive. Okay? And and pull away. So the sanguine in the room, we discussed that. For them, being okay is when they are making the social connection, right? The melancholic in the room, for them, being okay is pulling away, journaling, reading a book, you understand, and just being in their headspace. So just understanding yourself in that way. But do not forget, sleep is a requirement. The same way you can't starve yourself of food. For how long your body will give in, even with sleep. If you starve yourself of it, even your body, your health now will give in, and you'll have to work with a doctor, and then work with me, your psychologist, and a psychiatrist. You get? Whereas if we develop the habits earlier, we'd be at a better place. So if for any case that your sleep is interfered, maybe you in media could be called upon because there's something that has happened, you know, it's good, it's good to recover that time, because I know probably you're able to work in shift. So when your colleague picks up, look for a space and gain that sleep. A sleep cycle is 45 minutes. Okay? So we want you to have several sleep cycles for you to feel well rested. That's why you see the places that have the sleeping, the what did you call them? The pods and all that. You don't need 2 hours. You need to be in that pod for at least 45 minutes. So tell yourself you need 10 minutes to shut down and 45 minutes of sleeping. And then now you can go back to being functional. But if you're called on the 30 minutes, your sleep has just, you started getting into the deep sleeping state. Then I wake you up. The annoyance, the irritation. That's why you find like young mothers, when you have babies, you're trying to sleep, the baby cries. You know, the irritation, the postpartum that comes with it is because you're not able to complete your sleep cycles.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I can see your time is far much spent. There's so much to cover. So say someone is like, oh, I didn't know. So I have an imbalance in all these areas of my life, whether it's work, whether it's life, spiritually, mentally, all these aspects that make who we are. So how do we get there? What is it that we need to do based on your experience and what you teach? And then we'll just, we'll go across. How do we help this person get there? Or for someone who's like, oh, okay, so I started, maintain kidogo, there's a bit of an issue, and I don't know how to set healthy boundaries, how to delegate, how to prioritize, how I don't know how. So how do we help these two groups of people?
For me, what has worked is getting help, having that support system. As we say, build a support system around yourself. So that includes everyone, the teachers where your kids go to school, your house help, your partner or your husband, whoever is there. Just build people who can help. Even your parents, the grandparents, I mean, when talking about multi-generational parenting,
yes,
we are actually a huge beneficiary of that because our parents also really help us with the kids.
Yeah.
And so that is good, not just for yourself, but also for your kids. So just have systems, have a support system, and be very intentional about building that support system. It really, really helps. And also, as we said, having boundaries. And don't chase perfectionism. Especially if you're a business owner, you are not going to make it within 1 year or 2 years. If you want a business that will outlast you, all these businesses that we're seeing here, Nation Media and all those others, decades in the making. So we shouldn't try to make it within 6 months. Or just give yourself 5 years to figure out what business is actually all about. Then maybe another 5 years for you to start seeing real progress.
I like that. Well, do not chase perfectionism. Hey! How do we get there and how do we maintain? And especially for boundaries.
In addition to what she said, very good points. Having habits, right? So you're clear. You have your specific goals. What are the habits that you're putting in place in order for you to achieve what you're looking for? And when you're achieving, do you take time to celebrate, to acknowledge it? Do you see the growth? Okay? Because it's important to see that for you to understand what you built, you know, and then understand that it doesn't need to, you know, take the life out of you to achieve, you know, maybe the next goal. Because there are people who want that end result without without knowing. Like, have the mind of a, in some cases you will need the mind of a sprinter, and in some cases you will need the mind of a marathon runner. So a marathon runner will pace themselves and know that they need to push themselves at the last minute, while a sprinter, but when there is a goal that requires you to be a sprinter, you will have to exert yourself from the start. So maybe as a business, when you begin a business, you will need to be a sprinter. But as your business takes shape, become a marathon runner. When do you stop for your water breaks, you know, while you still keep on the course to consult, to get your support, you know, and then continue. When do you walk? When do you run? Because the whole journey cannot be all about running.
Okay. Where are these points? Alignment, equilibrium, balance. How do we get there and how do we maintain?
All right. So allow me to speak to organizations. I think in terms of setting structures in our organizations, we need to really be clear about our culture and how we are allowing people to bring their whole self to work. Create a culture that allows me to come and be honest and say, by the way, I have been beaten and I need to go to hospital. Like, not those ones of, I cannot tell them what is happening in my life. I'm going to lose my job, you know? And then let's take advantage of the psychosocial support that is in our workplaces. You know, everyone nowadays has a medical scheme that has Akina Nancy engaged. Please call up Nancy, take advantage of those opportunities. Now, the other thing is for HR, it's up to us to create to support, because we don't. We are not the owners of the business. Remember, we can't. So when you're given an opportunity to showcase how best we can create this culture, please take advantage of this, because you're the CEO's whisperer. So whisper how we can do that. And then allow, from a board point, I sit in a board. So from a board point, it's also up to us, you know, ask ourselves, when was the last time our CEO actually went on leave? And we are drilling numbers, because the people who suffer the most, by the time these guys are you should talk to the people, because we burn out without knowing. So even from the top, are we actually allowing our people to are we creating a culture that can allow you to have work-life alignment? That when my house girl says they've gone, I can call and say I'll come to work at 11, and then I'll need to leave at 4 because I'm doing school pickup today, right? So we need to create that culture that allows employees to bring their whole self, because at this point in time, first of all, Gen Zs are going to remind you that they will bring their whole self. So we might as well just, and you know, these things are not new. Flexi hours are not new. Hospitals have always done flexi hours. In manufacturing, we've always done flexi hours. We work in shifts. So they're not new. It's just the way we take them in and into our organization. So, and then empathy. If you're in leadership, empathy. Lead with empathy. And please learn to delegate. Learn to delegate. It will not die.
Yes.
It will not burn if you are not there today.
Will crumble.
And you've heard that story of a guy who went to take a meeting. It's a salesperson. They had to do a presentation. And they woke up unwell. They had been unwell for a while. Guy shows up, does a presentation, and collapses in someone else's boardroom.
Yeah.
So at what and you see these things coming.
Yes.
So even if it's because you're taught to read personalities, when you see the sanguines pushing too much, pull them back. Remind them that hey, I know you want to do your best, but tomorrow is Sunday.
Yes.
Do something that's not work related.
And don't think about
it.
Don't
and if you can't relax, follow Grace and Zula to their road trip on Saturday because you'll relax for 3 hours.
And not think about work or anything.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that. Someone is actually saying, so then how do you create work-life equilibrium, balance, alignment, and you're not employed?
That's not hard, actually. That's a bit easier.
In 10 seconds?
Let me whatever, in 10 seconds.
Yes.
The difference between an employed person and a not employed person, first of all of us are employed by the customer, so we're all employed. Unless the customer pays, we're not here. So your customer has to pay. But you get to choose.
Okay.
You get to choose. You can plan your time. You can say, I'm going to do this up to this time, and I'm going to do this up to this this time. And have those days. If it's have an off day. I keep telling entrepreneurs, please, even if it's a half day, off day, have it.
And someone who's not employed, someone who's saying, I do not have a job, so how do I attain that? Because there's also the stress part.
Of
and
not
I
having
know
a
Philo is
job.
like, you need to go. Philip is like, we need to go.
See, Nancy? See, Nancy? But the one thing that I keep telling job seekers, if you're looking for a job or you're looking for a way to start an employment, start keeping yourself busy with things you enjoy to do.
Yes. Good way
so
to
that
start.
you can protect your mental well-being. Yes. So instead of thinking I've been to interviews, I have cleaned my CV and the job is still not coming. Just look within you. What else can I do? And I like sometimes the Ushago setup where we used to go to church every so often. You know, there's a keyboard to be learned. There's what volunteer.
Yes.
You know, volunteer to give your service.
Okay, I like that. Listen, Philip is like, get out. So let's put a pause here, and then we'll continue with it, some other time. But for now, allow me to say thank you to all of you. You really, really help us understand and finding that equilibrium. So, Asante sana Susan Wahome, business owner and coach, Minister Judy Karanja, who was here with us on the first hour, Grace Nzula, who's a HR consultant. Let me tell you this title, founder and CEO at Tara Solutions. And they say we also wear other titles. Ni vile tu hawezi tupatia because ni mingi sana. We'll hear the whole day. And then Nancy Kabiru is here, who's a psychologist and mental health coach. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot, and I hope that you've learned a lot as well from today's conversation. So use that. Find, the balance, equilibrium, alignment, okay, integration, all the above. For you to be like generally a really healthy person. Okay, so we'll see you on the next episode of Your World, which is tomorrow, actually, on Relationship Tuesday with a bit of a twist. Okay, but until then, stay safe. God bless, and goodbye for now.